All right, this video is the lesson for today, Tuesday the 22nd. This is the day that we have been dismissed early for snow and ice or whatever, so road conditions, you understand. So this video is mostly for mods 9 and 10. Okay. Of course, though, any other mods are more than welcome to watch the video. To mods 9 and 10, you need to understand something. We cannot fall behind the other classes just because of some ice and whatever, especially for a lesson like this that's pretty darn easy. So we're just going to get through this quickly. I'm going to make this a fast video. We're just going to get through the basics of how this works. And I do still expect you to complete assignment 49, which is tonight's homework on Schoology. So I'm going to go through some examples here. You should take notes so that you have notes to use on your quiz next week. And then I will show you what to do on assignment 49. So let's make this very quick and easy. So excuse my cough. Last week, we were working with the product property, which states that if we are multiplying two monomials with the same base, so x and x, what we would do with the exponents is add them up. So x squared times x to the fourth would become x to the sixth power, okay? So in problems like this, multiplication problems, we would be adding up the exponents. That's what we did last week. The new one we're going to be talking about is the power property, which states basically that if you have an exponent on top of another exponent, like we have here, you have x to the a power, but then also on the outside to the b power. When this happens, when you have two exponents that are kind of layered this way, you're going to multiply the exponents together, okay? So when it's a multiplication problem, we're going to add the exponents, but when it's a power on top of a power, we're going to multiply the exponents. All right, it gets a little confusing. You need to make sure that you keep them straight, though, what goes with what. So, number one, if you follow the property or the rule that I just gave you, this is going to be x to the 10th power because we would be multiplying these exponents. But I also kind of want you to understand why it's x to the 10th power. So what I need you to notice is that inside the parentheses, we have x squared. X squared is basically two x's, x and x times x, right? But what this says is x squared 5 times. So two x's 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if you add up all of these x's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, 10 x's. That's why it's x to the 10th power, okay? So number 2, if you just follow with the rule, this is m to the 24th power, and then n to the 16th power, okay? We're multiplying exponents. Number 3, c does not have an exponent, so for all intents and purposes, it's a 1. So we'd have c to the 3rd power, or cubed, and then d to the 6th power, okay? So pretty easy, right? This is just the basics of it. What I'm going to show you next is what to do with a coefficient. So if you have problems that have a coefficient, which is basically that big number out in front of the exponent and variable, what you're going to do with that is raise that coefficient to the given power. So you need to treat the exponent as a normal exponent on the coefficient. But on the variables that have other exponents, you're going to go ahead with that power rule and multiply them. So I'm going to show you what I mean by this. Number 4, your coefficient is a 2. Okay, so what you're going to do with that is do 2 to the 5th power. That coefficient receives the exponent as a normal exponent. So 2 to the 5th power is like 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, if you have a calculator, it's pretty easy to figure this out. But 2 times 2 is 4, times another 2 is 8, times another 2 is 16, times another 2 is 32. So you can kind of do that also in your head if you want. Calculator also works as well. So 32. And then for the exponents, 5 times 5 are to the 25th power. And that's how that works. Okay. Number 5, you're going to be doing x squared. So that's 25. And then multiply your exponents, x to the 14th. Number 6, again, your coefficient gets the exponent as a normal exponent. So 3 squared becomes 9, and then n squared and m to the 4th power. I'm going to skip 7. Let's look at number 8 and 9 simultaneously. I want to look at these two together, side by side. Oops, sorry. What I want you to know is that the coefficients are both negative. Okay, they actually happen to be the same number, but both are negative. And I want you to compare that to the exponents. Look at the exponents. In number 8, the exponent is a 2. In number 9, the exponent is a 3. Here's the rule that we need to remember when we are squaring or cubing or 4th power, 5th power, whatever, whenever the coefficient is a negative, okay? So if your exponent is an even, oh, that's not a pen, sorry. If you have an even numbered exponent, your answer is going to be positive, okay? If you have an odd numbered exponent, oops, your answer is going to be a negative. And I will explain. In number 8, what we're doing is negative 2 squared. So that's negative 2 times negative 2. And a negative times a negative makes a positive 4. So that's why if your exponent's even, the answer is positive. Okay? So for number 8, our answer is going to be 4 p to the 8th and q to the 12th. Sorry, my handwriting's so sloppy. And in number 9, this time your exponent is an odd number. So we're doing negative 2 times itself 3 times. What happens when you're multiplying it by itself an odd number of times is that the first 2 will turn into a positive, but then you still are going to be multiplying it by a negative, again, turning it back to a negative number. So again, if the exponent's an odd number, it'll be a negative answer. And then we have x to the 6th and y to the 9th. Okay? Number 12, because it's a fraction. Okay, when your coefficient is a fraction, you're going to still cube it as normal. This is 12 cubed, so 12, oh my gosh. 1/2, I am so sorry. This is 1/2 multiplied by itself 3 times. So you can write it out if you want. 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. And you realize that 1 times 1 times 1 in the top is 1. 2 times 2 times 2 in the bottom is 8. Or you can basically just apply the exponent to the numerator and the denominator separately. So I do 1 cubed is 1, and then 2 cubed is 8. Leave it as a fraction. Same thing. Okay, and then for all of the exponents, we have a to the 9th power, b to the 12th power, and c to the 15th power. And there you go. All right. That's pretty much the gist of it, guys. I mean, that's the basics of how this works. On the back page here, I have some more problems that are mixture. So what I mean by that is you're going to have the power property and the product property that we did last week. So you really need to know how to do these problems as well. These are the types of problems that you're going to see on your quiz, homework, etc. So 13. Problems like 13 and on, where it's a mixture of both properties, it's really important that you stay true to PEMDAS. That is going to be your saving grace, okay? So focus, pay attention to what you're supposed to do first. In PEMDAS, we're going to start with parentheses. Inside the parentheses, there's nothing happening. There's just a k to the 4th power. There's no multiplication, there's nothing. So we're going to move on to exponent. I have an exponent right here on this parentheses. So I'm going to do that first. So in this problem, we're doing the power property first. So k to the 8th power. And then bring down everything else, times k to the 3rd power. Okay. Then if you keep following PEMDAS, now we're going to do any multiplication. So that's all we have left. When you're multiplying, you have to add up your exponents. 8 and 3 make 11. And that's it. Okay.
Attention staff, please release those students that have Mod 8 lunch at this time. Only those students that have Mod 8 lunch at this time. All other students will remain in their classes until dismissal at 12:30. Thank you.
All right, guys. Number 14. This problem also has product and power property. Both are happening here. The difference, though, between this one and number 13 is that the multiplication is inside of the parentheses. So in this problem, we're actually going to multiply first, because if you look at PEMDAS, the first thing to do is whatever's inside parentheses. Okay? So inside here, we have 2 times 1, which is just 2. And then for n, you have 3 and 1 here, so that makes 4. Okay, remember with product, you're adding exponents. And then you still have that power on the outside. So remember, your coefficient gets the exponent as a normal exponent, so 2 squared is 4. And then you multiply your exponents, n to the 8th. Okay, 15, again, multiplication is happening inside the parentheses. We're going to start there. So u to the, let's see, 4 and 2 makes 6th power. V to the 2 and 3 makes 5. And that's what's inside parentheses. So I'm going to put my parentheses around it. And I have a 4th power on the outside. So now I'll do my power property. U to the 24th power. V to the 20th. Okay, almost done. 16. Okay, so this time multiplication's outside of the parentheses, so I'm not doing that first. I need to simplify the exponent first. So I'm going to leave this a cubed b squared, I'm going to leave that alone, and I'll multiply it by whatever I get over here. So 2 cubed is 8. A, let's see, 3 times 3 is 9. And then b also 9. Now I'm going to multiply. The coefficient in front of this first guy is a 1, so 8 times 1 is 8. And then add your exponents. 3 and 9 makes a to the 12th. B, 2 and 9 makes b to the 11th. Okay? Let's, 18 and then 21. For 18. We actually have 2 exponents happening on the left and right side. So we're going to simplify both, and then we'll multiply at the end. So negative 2 squared. Remember, if your coefficient's negative, you need to really pay attention to whether that's an even or an odd number. It's even. So negative 2 squared, this is positive 4. A squared, b to the 4th, right? Times, bring down that multiplication, over on the right side. 3 squared is 9, and then a to the 4th, b squared. Okay, now we'll do the multiplication. 4 times 9 is 36. A, we have 2 and 4, that makes 6. And then b, 4 and 2, again makes 6. There's your final answer. All right. Below this, 21, fractions. Gotta love it. All right. So, number 21, again, we have 2 exponents happening on the left and right side, so we're going to do both, and then we'll multiply at the end. So 6 cubed. Again, sometimes these numbers are going to get pretty big, so make sure you have a calculator handy, or you can do it longhand. This is 216. A to the 6th power, b cubed. Times 1/3 squared. 1 squared is 1, 3 squared is 9. And then a, b, and c, neither one of them have an exponent, so basically they're all just going to get a 2. A squared, b squared, c squared. All right, 216 times 1/9. Remember, multiply by the number in the top, divide by the number in the bottom. So basically it's 216 divided by 9, which is 24. A, 6 and 2 makes 8. B, 3 and 2 makes 5. And C, well, there's only one of them, so c squared. There you go. There's 21. All right. Last but not least, very simple property below here. If you have anything that's raised to the power of 0, the answer is 1. And I don't mean just the exponent. I'm talking the entire thing turns into a 1. Or rather, what I do is I cross. You know what? Let me get a different. There you go. That's better. Cross it out. Okay? So look at 22. I have this m to the 0 power and this m to the 0 power. Notice that 0 exponent, especially over here, it only applies to the m. It doesn't apply to this n or this 2, okay? So when I cross it off, I'm only crossing off this. Same here, okay? So I'm going to rewrite what I have left. N squared times 2n, and that's cubed on the outside. So now I can simplify it. Follow PEMDAS. Do what's inside the parentheses first. So n squared times 2n is 2n cubed. Add the exponents. And then I need to cube that again. So 2 cubed is 8. N, 3 times 3 is 9. Okay. One more and then I'll end it. I guess 23, why not? All right, x to the 0 power, all gone. So is this one, all gone. Notice how I didn't cross off the 2. He's on his own, he's separate. So this is now 2y times 2 cubed, which is just 8. So 2y times 8, that's 16y. Okay? All right, guys, so let me just show you really quick. Schoology, here we go. Assignment 49, due tomorrow for all classes. No work, no credit. We're going back to this. These require work now. So I don't want none of this copy down the answer key stuff. There is an answer key to help you to make sure you know what you're doing so you can check and see if you're doing the right thing. Numbers 1 through 8, even 1 through 9, depending on how good you are with fractions. 1 through 9 can pretty much be done in your head. So like number 2, we know is k to the 45th power, etc. So if you don't show any work for number 1 through 9, you got a free pass. But all the rest of these, I need to see your steps because I know that you're not doing problems like 19 in your head. So I need to see some kind of work, even if it's very minimal. You've got to show me what you're doing. Okay, and then 22, 23, and 24, this is the return of perimeter and area. So you need to do both. For 22, perimeter, add up all the sides, area, length times width, and then 23 and 24 are triangles. So 1/2 base times height for the area. Add up all the sides. Okay, so check your answers as you go. We can definitely go over some things in class if we have time. And yeah, make sure you get this done. There's